Absolutely no chance.
Rohit Sharma has retired from Test cricket, Ayaz. But before we get into speculation about who might replace him as Test captain and where he goes from here, let's first take a look back at his career in white. So he ends up having played 67 matches, gathering 4,301 runs at an average of 40.75. Now, we have to remember that he started off in Test cricket. He took quite a long time to get into Test cricket, actually, because he debuted for India in the white ball formats in 2007, but he only made it to the Test side in 2013. Now, he was initially a lower order batsman, but then he transitioned into becoming one of the best openers in a very testing time. And of course, he had that drop in form over the past 7, 8 months or so. And so, given all that, how would you sum up his career?
Well, I mean, it's been a checkered career. He's had stumbles at the start of his career. He played in 2007. He's also come from the under 19 ranks, along with the likes of Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara. That is the cluster of batsmen who came from the under 19 ranks and succeeded players like Dravid, Lakshman, Sachin, Ganguly. So this was the era, or this bunch who was expected to take Indian cricket forward in all formats. Rohit took his time to get into the test team, as you mentioned. I mean, he was more than getting into the test team in 2013. He missed the bus for the 2011 World Cup, where at the last moment Yuvraj Singh was preferred to him, and the rest is history. But if you look at his test career since, there also, he started off brilliantly. Hundreds in his first two test matches, then he lost his place, then he regained his place. And then, of course, when he became opener, when he was, given the choice to open, he agreed to open, that it took a completely different trajectory. Now, you might say 4,000 odd runs in 67 test matches. These are not unflattering stats, an average of 40. But you have to contextualize it. I don't think there have been too many better opening batsmen from India. I can only think of Gavaskar and Sehwag, better than him as opening batsmen in red ball cricket. And when you include the other formats, I think Rohit then just kind of moves on to a pedestal all his own, because we all know what his prowess in white ball cricket has been. So it's been an absolutely marvelous career for the kind of entertainment, which is the buzzword nowadays, that he provided, but also for the quality of his batting, the caliber that he had, the finesse, the ability to play so late, a la VVS Lakshman and Mohammad Azharuddin, and also a destructive ability to destruct and destroy bowling attacks, much like, I dare say, Viv Richards in his form. So Rohit's contribution has been enormous, never mind the stats.
Yeah, and the first time I heard this news about him retiring, my first thought was, yeah, okay, now he's free to concentrate on getting himself fit to play the 2027 ODI World Cup, because as you know, as that was the 2023 final loss were heartbreaking for him and Virat, obviously. And as you mentioned earlier, Rohit wasn't part of the 2011 World Cup winning side either. So, given that, do you think that is the only singular goal now left for him?
I mean, that I think is a big factor in continuing. He's not retired from ODI cricket. You remember, he's retired from T20 cricket after winning the World Cup. Nobody had asked him to retire, but he retired. I think in his mind, and I'm just doing some mind reading, that he had got this, try and complete a hat trick of wins, which is in T20 cricket, in WTC World Test Championship. World Test Championship, he couldn't do it. He lost to Australia in 2023. ODI World Cup, we came within a hair's breadth of winning the ODI World Cup. We lost to Australia again, and a lot of that credit reaching that far must accrue to Rohit as the batsman and as a captain. So that's some lingering thing, and then of course T20 World Cup we won. Now I think in his mind he's probably surmised. Why only in his mind? He just probably worked out the WTC cycle is going to take 2 years, starting from July. And that's a long period for a 38-year-old to say, I can last that long, especially when you've had, age is catching up. You've not had a great run in the last 6, 8 months. I think also the fact that his last six matches, test matches that he's led India in, India have lost all six. And his form has been kind of poor. So all these things weighing on his mind, I think there's been a lot of talk swirling around that he was perhaps pushed into this situation by the selectors. I don't see that as exactly right. I mean, conversations with the selectors have been happening for a long time. But I think more to do with Rohit has been having conversations with himself, whether he's got the physical wherewithal to last that long, the the mental bandwidth to go through the red ball format for another 2 years, and also the mojo. You keep your mojo alive for that long. So having sussed out all of those, I think perhaps this is the right decision that he's made, keeping alive his ambition of still winning the World Cup.
Yeah, and so lastly, let's move on to speculation about who replaces him. Now, of course, the selection committee will make their choice later in the month, and everything before that is just speculation. But what's the harm in a bit of speculation, right? So, Jasprit Bumrah is the vice captain of the team, but you would assume that taking workload management into consideration and the fact that he's just come back from an injury, maybe they would not want to burden him with additional responsibility. And India always wanted a long-term stable captain, be it right from Dhoni to Virat to Rohit. So one of the names coming up from that lot is Shubman Gill, who's just 25. So how would you see him as a potential pick, and are there other names on your mind?
I mean, it's a bit of a quandary for the selectors, isn't it, right now? This is a very important tour, and you want to be at your best. You want somebody, and I think the team will be very good. I mean, they'll miss, obviously, Rohit Sharma's experience and his caliber at the top of the order as an opening batsman. But, there's a whole, there's a cluster of youngsters, young batsmen who are aspiring for places in all formats. So I think you'll get an opening batsman. As a captain, the four names that have been swirling around over the past couple of years, it's been KL Rahul, there's been Shubman Gill, there's been Jasprit Bumrah, and then there's somewhere also Rishabh Pant after his comeback. So I think, I mean, Jasprit Bumrah, one of the things that we kind of got over in the old days, there was this belief that fast bowlers don't make good captains or bowlers don't make good captains. I mean, Kapil Dev has been captain in the past, so I don't think that holds any merit any longer. But Jasprit getting the captaincy, but Jasprit would have been perhaps the logical successor, except that there is a feeling that you can't saddle him with too much workload, physical workload, as well as the mental bandwidth to lead the team. That is not as important as the physical workload. So if he's going to be in a 5 test series playing only 3 test matches or even 4, then should he be saddled with the captaincy? KL Rahul has had captaincy experience in the past. He's got the experience of being on the international circuit for a long while. And then Shubman Gill, who's been actually in many ways being groomed for this job as the vice captain also. So I think Rishabh Pant is, in my opinion, pretty much out of that race. He now has to kind of make sure he's in the squad to England as a test player. So I think the three names that are swirling around are Bumrah, Shubman Gill, and KL Rahul, and that's as I mentioned, it's a bit of a quandary for the selectors right now.
Yeah, and we'll keep you up to date on all the developments that happen regarding the captaincy. So we'll see you on the next episode of Sportsroom. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks, Anil. Catch up.